40 minutes ago, Republican Congressman Thomas Massie did something extraordinary during FBI Director Kash Patel's testimony before the House Judiciary Committee. He caught Patel, live on camera, hiding a name in the documents Congress ordered public. Not a victim, not a witness, a co-conspirator. A billionaire the FBI flagged as potentially complicit in crimes. When Massie showed him the evidence in front of every camera, Patel didn't deny it. He attacked Massie, accused him of political grandstanding, called it a media stunt. But here's what Patel didn't know. Within 40 minutes of Massie catching him red-handed, someone at FBI headquarters quietly unredacted that name in the online database. 40 minutes, proving the redaction was never legally necessary. It was protection. And Thomas Massie, the Republican congressman who wrote the law requiring these files be released, just documented the cover-up in real time. February 11, 2026, House Judiciary Committee oversight hearing. The room was packed, survivors of abuse sitting in the gallery wearing white, cameras at every angle, and Thomas Massie, former engineer, libertarian-leaning congressman from Kentucky, co-author of the Government Transparency and Accountability Act, waiting for his turn to ask questions. He wasn't there to grandstand. He was there because he'd spent the previous 2 days in a secure reading room at FBI headquarters, reviewing unredacted versions of investigative files. The files Congress had ordered released. The files Patel's FBI had released with thousands of redactions that didn't make sense. And Massie had found something. One specific redaction, one name that should never have been hidden, and he was about to make Patel explain it in front of the entire country. Let me take you back to November 2025. Thomas Massie and Democrat Ro Khanna introduced the Government Transparency and Accountability Act, bipartisan. The law required federal agencies to release all unredacted records related to ongoing congressional investigations. No exceptions for powerful people. The bill passed. Trump signed it. And when the deadline arrived, agencies released files with thousands of redactions that didn't make sense. Witnesses' names were exposed. Cooperating sources identified. But powerful individuals' names? Redacted. Massie and Khanna threatened contempt charges. They publicly accused agencies of systematic cover-up. And on February 11, 2026, Massie sat across from Patel with evidence he couldn't explain. Picture this: mid-morning, Rayburn House office building. The hearing had been running over an hour. Democrats hammered Patel on redactions. Jamie Raskin opened by pointing to survivors in the room, accusing Patel of running a massive cover-up operation. Pramila Jayapal asked Patel to turn and apologize to witnesses behind him. Patel refused, called it theatrics, pivoted to attacking the previous administration. The pattern was clear. Democrats attack, Patel deflects, Republicans defend. Standard partisan theater. Then Thomas Massie's turn came. He didn't open with accusations. He opened with a specific, narrow, evidence-based question about one document, one name. The temperature changed immediately. When Massie asks a narrow question, it's because he already has the answer, and he's about to make you admit it. Director Patel, Massie began, voice calm, almost conversational, the tone of a man who doesn't need to shout because the facts are about to do all the work. I want to ask you about something I found while reviewing unredacted investigative files this week. He held up a document, printed, highlighted, the kind of prop that tells you this moment was planned. This is an FBI document. It lists individuals connected to an ongoing investigation. And in this document, there's a name that appears, a name flagged by the FBI as a potential subject of interest. He paused, not for drama, for precision, to make sure every word landed cleanly in the record. But when your agency released this document to the public, that name was redacted. Can you explain why a name flagged by your own agents as a potential subject was hidden from Congress and the American people? The room went quiet, not the polite quiet of people waiting for an answer, the tense quiet of people realizing they're about to watch something break open. Patel shifted in his seat. You could see it, the micro-adjustment, the glance toward his staff. He knew what was coming. He just didn't know how bad it was about to get. Patel tried the standard move, deflect to process. Congressman, as I've stated repeatedly, the FBI worked around the clock to release these files within the deadlines set by Congress. We made every effort to balance transparency with the protection of ongoing investigative equities and privacy concerns. Massie didn't accept it. That's not what I asked. I didn't ask about your process. I asked about one specific name. Why was it redacted? Patel tried again. There are multiple reasons why names might be redacted in these documents. Ongoing investigations, grand jury secrecy rules, witness protection. This name, Massie interrupted, voice still calm but harder now, is not a witness. This name is not requesting anonymity. This is a name that the FBI itself flagged as a subject of interest. So let me ask you again, why was this specific name hidden from the American people? And then Massie said the name out loud. On the record, in front of every camera, Peter Thiel. Stop right here. If you've watched this far and you're starting to understand what just happened, like this video right now. Seriously, the algorithm determines who sees this, and this story needs to reach people. Write what you're thinking in the comments. Let's keep going because what happened next is when Patel realized he'd been caught. Peter Thiel, billionaire, PayPal co-founder, major Trump donor, board member of multiple tech companies with federal contracts, and according to the FBI document Massie was holding, a name that appeared in investigative materials as a subject of interest in a financial crimes investigation. Patel tried to recover. Congressman, I believe that individual's name appears in multiple contexts across various documents we've released. Massie didn't let him finish. I know his name appears in multiple documents. I've reviewed the files, but in this specific document, the one where FBI agents flag him as a subject of financial crimes investigation, his name is redacted. Why? Patel looked at his staff. One of them was typing frantically, looking something up, trying to find an answer that would get him out of this. Congressman, if there was an error in that redaction, we'll review it and correct it. Massie leaned forward. And this is where it happened. The moment that's going to be replayed for years. Director Patel, I'm glad you said that, because approximately 40 minutes ago, after I raised this issue publicly in my opening statement, your agency quietly unredacted that name in the online database. He held up another piece of paper, a printout showing the before and after. So let me be very clear about what just happened. I caught you hiding a billionaire's name from a financial crimes investigation. And within 40 minutes of me catching you, you fixed it. The room erupted, not with shouting, with the rustle of reporters typing, cameras zooming, staffers leaning forward. This wasn't partisan theater anymore. This was evidence of something real. Massie wasn't finished. So my question isn't whether you'll fix it. You already did, after I caught you. My question is, who made the decision to redact Peter Thiel's name as a subject in a financial crimes investigation in the first place? And that's when Patel made his biggest mistake. Instead of answering the question, instead of providing an explanation or promising an investigation, or even just saying, I don't know, I'll find out, he attacked. Congressman Massie, I find it interesting that you're asking these questions now when you sat silently while the previous administration buried investigations for years. Where were your questions then? Massie's face didn't change. He'd been expecting this. I'm asking you now, Director. You're the one sitting in that chair. You're the one who signed off on these redactions. So answer the question, who decided to hide Peter Thiel's name? Patel's voice rose. Not a lot, just enough that you could hear the edge. Congressman, you've made it very clear that you have an agenda here. You've opposed this administration at every turn, despite being a Republican. Massie's voice cut through. Quiet, sharp. I wrote the law you're violating. I'm not asking you about the administration. I'm asking you about a billionaire's name that your agency hid from the American people in a document about financial crimes. Answer the question. There are two kinds of moments in congressional hearings. Moments where a witness can't answer because information is classified or privileged, and moments where a witness won't answer because the truth is worse than the silence. Everyone watching understood which kind of moment this was. Patel tried one more deflection. You want to talk about cover-ups? Why didn't you ask the previous FBI director about buried investigations when he sat in that chair? Massie didn't take the bait. I'm asking you today, under oath, did you personally approve the redaction of Peter Thiel's name in that FBI document? Patel's jaw tightened. I am not going to sit here and be lectured by someone who spent more time attacking his own party than supporting law enforcement. There it was, the personal attack. The tell that someone's run out of answers and reached for the only weapon left, character assassination. Massie smiled, not a big smile, a small one, the kind that says, "Thank you for proving my point." Director, I'm not attacking anyone. I'm a sitting congressman who wrote the law requiring transparency, and you just spent 7 minutes attacking me instead of explaining why a billionaire donor's name was hidden from a financial crimes investigation. He paused. I think the American people can draw their own conclusions about what that means. Here's what you need to understand. Peter Thiel isn't some random person. He's one of Trump's biggest donors. He gave $15 million to Trump-aligned super PACs in 2024. He has contracts with multiple federal agencies. And when FBI agents flagged his name in connection with a financial investigation, someone decided the public didn't need to know. When a congressman caught them, they fixed it in 40 minutes, proving it was never about legal necessity. It was about protection. That's not a redaction error. That's a cover-up. And Massie forced Patel to admit it without ever using the word. Because sometimes the refusal to answer is the answer. The hearing continued. Other members asked questions. Patel deflected, attacked, cited statistics. But the moment that mattered was Massie's 7 minutes. Because Massie is a Republican. He wrote the law. He has no political incentive to attack a Republican FBI director. And he did it anyway, because the evidence was undeniable. That makes it impossible to dismiss as partisan politics. Within an hour, the clip was everywhere. Not just liberal platforms, conservative outlets too. Because Republican catches Republican hiding billionaire donor's name transcends party lines. 40 minutes. That's how long it took between Massie catching Patel and the FBI quietly fixing it. 40 minutes to prove the redaction was never necessary. It was a choice made to protect someone powerful. Thomas Massie walked into that hearing with evidence. He asked narrow, specific, undeniable questions. And when Patel couldn't answer, Massie didn't accept deflection. He pressed, he repeated, he made Patel sit in the silence until he had no choice but to attack personally. That's not partisan theater. That's accountability. And the clip is still spreading. The questions are still unanswered. And somewhere in Washington, Kash Patel is having a very difficult conversation about the 40 minutes that proved everything.